Well, hello! In this lesson, we are going to learn how to add images to our sketches. We know how to do shapes, they look pretty good, but sometimes you want to do something a little bit more detailed. Maybe you want to find something on the internet to add to your sketch. Like maybe you want like Pickle Rick, or you want a cat, or you want SpongeBob, like the actual SpongeBob to be in your sketch. You don't want to just use like a shaped version of it. What we're going to learn today is how to add images to our sketch. All right, it's going to be some fun. All right, so it's some steps. There's some steps you have to follow. Just follow along with the steps that I'm doing and be a-okay. So the first thing we want to do is find what image do we want to add. Well, I'm just going to Google some images and come up with what I want to add to it. So let's go here. I'm going to say like I'm going to look for cats. So I Google the word cat. You might not know it. I love cats. And let's find a good image of a cat. Oh, there's a beautiful cat. There's a cat sticking his tongue out. Click the thumbnail. All right, and then you'll see this pops up. This is the image that we want. We don't want the thumbnail. That's not what we're with. You want to click it first and then use this. Now to download the image, what you do is you right click or double click depending on your computer. All right, so I'm going to right click here and you see this little menu comes up. What you want to do is you want to save this image. So we're going to say save image as. All right, now rename it. Mine says like download. That's a stupid name. Let's call it cat. All right, rename it whatever you want. And you'll see it pops up down here. You get cat.jpg. All right, the next part is once you've got your image and you saved it, maybe you use this cat, maybe you didn't, that's fine, is to click this right here. This is this little like right arrow. You've never probably clicked or even noticed it, but that's pretty important. This is actually shows you all the files in your project. Now we've always been coding in sketch.js. We're coding the JavaScript of our project, but there are more files here. Index.html, style.css. They do other things. Don't be worried about that. Don't concern yourself with those things right now. But we do want to add a new file. We want to add our image. So you see this little down arrow? We're going to click that and say upload file. Now you could search your computer for it. The easiest way I always do it is I just drag and drop it over here. And you can see that cat pops up over here once it's downloaded into the project. Beautiful. So that was step one. Download the image. I guess step two was upload it into your project over here. Now let's get to show up on the screen. A few steps. Step one is to create a variable. This variable is where we're going to store the image inside of. Okay, we're going to have like a variable and we're going to store an image inside of it. Remember, variables are just like an empty place to hold data. So I'm going to say let. You can name it whatever you want. Since we're storing a cat in it, why don't we call it cat? Now this next thing is something new. We've never done this before. We're going to do something called function preload. Okay, function preload, parentheses, and then curly braces. This right here is where you always load all of your images in. All right. What that allows the computer to do is to take all the images and like load them into the sketch first. And then here you could start drawing them. So we have to preload them in before we could draw them. All right. You might kind of be aware of this. It's kind of like if you've ever played a video game and like it's like loading, right? You can't just start playing it. It's because it has to load all the data in, right? It has to like set up the world and then you could start playing and interacting with it. Same thing goes here. We have to like preload all the data into memory and then we can start doing things with it. So here preload is very important. All right. And this is where we take our variable cat and we load the image into it. All right. We're going to store the image inside of this variable by doing this load image. Now inside of the parentheses, we just put the name of the file where we have that image. So see how it says cat.jpg? You have to copy that exactly. Great. So that's the first steps, right? Still no cat on the screen. So we have to move on to our final step to actually get to show up. This is what we do. We type in the word image, and that's like the function to show an image. And this is going to take in 5 parameters. 5. Hear me out. The first thing you do is you tell it what image do you want to show. So I want to show this one, the one that I stored inside the variable cat. So we give it the variable name first. That's the first thing. Which image, right? You could have many images. You got to tell it which one you want to show on the screen. Now the rest of this is a lot like a rectangle. We got to tell it the top left-hand corner of our sketch, like where do we want it to show up? So I want this thing to be at like a 100, 100. And then we want to tell it the width and the height of the image, right? It's not, if you could just do this and it'll show up and it'll give you like whatever it naturally looks like, but maybe sometimes you want to make it smaller. You want to decrease the size of it. So if you want to like actually have control of what the size of your image is, those are the next 2 numbers. So remember, it's the X and Y coordinate of the top left-hand corner. So if I right here, that's 100, 100. And then we're going to say the width and height. Let's make it 80 by 80. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Oh, that's too small. Let's make it like 100 by 100. 200 by 200. Great, that's perfect. Exactly what I want my cat to look like. All right, and that's it. So remember, import it or upload your file, create the variable, preload it, and then use this image function to like actually have it show up on the screen. The variable, the x and y coordinate where you want to show up, the width and the height. You could change all those numbers. Like if you wanted to like make this a lot longer, you could say 200 by 500. See, now it's like a really long stretched out cat. You get the point. All right, so that's good, but let's do more with this. Let's add a second image here. So like, where do cats usually hang out? They usually hang out in living rooms. So here we go. Let's get a living room now. Living room. Okay, let's get an image. That looks like a nice living room. All right, so let's get this. Whatever, they're all fine. All right, so what you're gonna do is let's get another living room. I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna go to Save Image As again. All right, this has a crazy name, so I'm gonna call this Living. You see it downloads over here. All right, we're gonna upload that image again. So we go here, we're gonna upload the file, and I'm gonna drag and drop it in to get my second thing in here. Now we got it. Living.png. Now, this is the room that's going to be in, right? So let's just say let room. All right, so that's what I'm going to call my variable. So I'm going to create the variable. Inside of this preload, I'm going to add a second variable now. I'm going to show you the number one mistake that students make. They make another, they go like this, function preload. They're like, oh, I need another image. Let me do this again. You never do that. Do not make two preload functions. You should always have one preload function that you put everything in. Just kind of like how we have one draw function and one setup function, we only have one preload function. You do not like copy and paste this every time you want to make an image. That is bad. That is so bad. You want to put all of your images inside this one preload function. All right, so now we're going to use room equals load image. And let's see the name of the file again. It's going to be living.png. Okay. Great, everything's good. Now this room's a little small. Like this canvas is a little bit small for my room, so I kind of want to make this a little bit bigger. So let's make this 800 by 600. So I have like a bigger room to work with here. Yeah, like that. And then let's add our second image now. So once again, I go image. This one I want to be room. Remember, that's the variable, right? Name, it's room. That's where I store that image inside of. Now I want to like use this as my complete background. So I actually want it to like be over here and like cover everything. So I want to start it at 0, 0. All right. Now if you see here, like it's too big. So I have to make it the size of the canvas. My canvas is 800 by 600. So I want the width to be 800 and the height to be 600. And now you see it's like perfect. It's like exactly what the canvas is. Well, where did my cat go? Well, don't worry. You'll notice that the cat was drawn first and then the room, right? That means the cat's behind this room. The room is bigger. It's like it's covering it. So we got to switch it around. So let's just move this back. Okay. Let's put that right there. Good. So now we have Kitty and we have this this nice room. Now I'm going to put the kitty down here because I want him to like kind of hang out in the foreground here. So let's move him down a little bit. So let's go like 100, 300. 100, 350. 100, 370. Yeah, that's kind of cool. So he's kind of hanging out over here, right? Sticking his tongue out, like as cats do. Maybe he wants to be a little bit like more onto like, yeah, we'll have him on a rug. But the problem here is that he has this background, right? You see the background here? It's like he doesn't really blend in with like the picture. So we want to actually, we just want the cat, not the background. And there's a way to do that, right? So it actually looks a lot better. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this something that like an online application that removes backgrounds. It's super simple to use. So watch this. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to do remove image background. And actually show you the right site here. And it's like remove.bg, right? I didn't remember the site name, but we're going to go here. Remove.bg, and it's so easy, it's free to use. Check it out. We just go to upload image. We're going to do the cat. Okay. Okay, give it a second. And you'll see that, you see it has this checkered background? It removed the image, it removed the background for you. So now all we have to do is download it again. I'm going to use this cat again. Okay, this one gives me cat.png. What I'm going to do is I'm going to re-download this. So let's upload this new one without the background. So I upload this here. Okay, and you see that now I have cat.png. This PNG is the one without the background. That's the one I just removed the background of. You could tell it's removed because of that checkered background. Instead of cat. Let's just change the file here. So instead of cat.jpg, let's do cat.png and use the different file. And now you see how there's no background and this blends in a lot more. It looks like the cat is kind of like actually in the room with us. So that's another great tip here. If you want to like have it more realistic looking, just make sure you remove those backgrounds so it's not just a bunch of like rectangles stacked over each other. All right, that was the whole video. That is how we add images. That's how we like add multiple images, and that's how we remove the background. You should be good to go now. Peace out.